I took these 3 screws out, and this whole thing wants to kind of lift up as an assembly. In other words, the distributor seems to want to stay on this. So I want to make a note of the fact that looks like there's a port right here on this side that's not used, and so that's facing towards the starter side here, so I can take this off without forgetting where everything goes. Oh, there we go. There, I can see the points in there now. Alright, I need 2 hands. Okay, so if I disconnect this connection right here on the distributor, that will allow me to flip this whole thing up. Did I just do something wrong there? Why do I think I wasn't supposed to do that? That didn't have a little... Uh-oh. I think I just messed up.
Yes, you did! Yes, you did!
Just pulled this wire right out of there thinking that it was supposed to disconnect from there, and it almost looks like maybe it's supposed to stay as part of the distributor assembly. Oops. Alright, and then so underneath that there's this collar looking thing. Actually there's some type of a wavy washer, and then this collar looking assembly, and the beveled part with the part number on it faces down. Let's take that off. And what we have, let's see, what's this over here? That looks like it's just a wiper. And then we've got 2 sets of points. Okay. Over here. Let's see better on this side. Number 1 is right here. And number 2 is right there. That one's currently in the open position because the lobe on the cam is touching it. We got a couple of knurled screws. So he's got an Allen head in the end of them for, looks like, adjusting the point gap. Assuming as the points wear, you can readjust the gap there. Alright. So nothing too unusual, I guess, in here. Well, other than got some corrosion in there. Oh, look at all that mouse poop that got buried in there. I couldn't get out before. Guess I get the shop vac over here again. Ha! It was so long since I took this apart, I totally forgot. When I was taking it apart, I said this port looks like it's unused. This is where the primary hooks up. So this is what comes out of your ignition coil. The ignition coil secondary, I mean, when the ignition coil hooks up here. So that's your power going into the distributor. And then the weird thing about this is I'm not sure how this works, because I'm not sure how this distributor actually works. This is obviously the rotor of the distributor right here. And this has got, oh okay, I see. We got a brass contact sticking out right there. So I see. On the inside of this ring, this inner ring right down inside there, there's a ring that makes contact, I'm sure, with this little brass nub right here. That ring, when this is down inside there, makes contact with, okay, there's a brass ring right there. So a little brass piece right there. So this ring on the inside is constantly getting power from this little brass piece inside here. And then as this spins around, this little brass piece right here delivers it to each of the various spark plug wires as it's rotating. So there we got like this one right here. That must be right there. It's kind of hard to see, but that must be the where that makes contact. Yeah, again, it's kind of hard to tell. How far down does that go in there? It's way down there. Obviously, it wouldn't hurt to replace that if I had another one. But I bet you that. Well, A, I wonder if it's even available. And B, I wonder how much that cost. Well, I just went online and checked and looked at the parts breakdown, and you are supposed to be able to pull out these spark plug wires, so you can change the wires if they have to be changed without having to change the whole distributor, which is a good thing because this distributor assembly is actually still available. It's $300, so yeah, not good. Let's just say I don't think I'm going to be changing that, buying a new one of those. Did find a used one for 115 bucks or 120 bucks on some website. I forgot what the name of it was, but anyways, don't care because I'm not even buying that. I'm going to clean this one up. I'm going to dig out what looks to me like the piece that popped off there, try and reattach it when I put this all back together. But for right now, what I want to do is I want to take a look-see at cleaning up and resetting the gap on these points. Alright, I've hooked up my continuity tester on my multimeter, and now if I, let's see, just short out one set of the contact points, I get that beeping noise telling me that it's making connections. So this one right here is closed, but it's not making any connection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean those points. This is a very fine file called a pattern file, and I'm just going to very lightly give it a rub in between the contacts there. So I'm going to open the contacts up, get the file between it, and just rub it. Alright, just the act of rubbing it has restored continuity to that set, but now I'm going to use electronic cleaner to clean off any residue from the filing, and then I'm going to blow it out with compressed air. Alright, both sets are cleaned, so now I'm getting zero resistance when the points are closed, which is what I want. And as I rotate it, let's see, that's both sets are open. Second set closing. So actually, my mistake. The way this is working is when the lobe comes around, it's opening the points. So there we go. So there, we got both sets of points are open at that point, and the rest of the time, pretty much the rest of the time they're closed. Looks like there might be some crap on this part here that the wipers are running on, so I'm going to try and clean that up. So now I'm going to measure the point gap. I've rotated the crankshaft to the point where the points are breaking, and I'm going to use my feeler gauge set here, and I'm going to insert feeler gauges until I feel a slight drag on the gauge. Now normally at this point I'd go online and do some searching to see if I could figure out what the gap is, but what's nice is right here stamped on the base it says set to 10 thousandths gap. Alright, this one is a little bit wide. It's the 10 thousandths gauge goes in freely, the 11th goes in, and then the 12th has a little bit of a drag. So it's like between an 11 and 12 thousandths. So I'm going to tweak that just a tiny bit. I'm going to check the other one first. Alright, I've now reset both point gaps to 10 thousandths. Now while I have the distributor off and it's easy to get to it, I'm going to test this switch, cutout switch, for proper function. Okay, the switch seems to be working okay. If I push this all the way over, I get an open circuit. And if I push it all the way in this way, I get a closed circuit. So I'm going to, in this middle position right here, I'm getting kind of an odd reading. So I'm going to clean that switch. Okay, now there's two tabs, but there's only one connection here from a wire, and then the way this switch works is it's whether or not it grounds that wire. So it's important, I clean the bottom of this switch contact plate area here. I'm going to clean it a little better in a second. And you want to clean this plate area here because this is what makes the electrical ground connection for the switch. So if that's not good, you can have problems. And then cleaning the switch, I just push the switch plunger in and stick the straw from the contact cleaner in there, and you can actually see there's a little gap that's formed inside there. I don't know if you can see it or not, but that little hole will let the contact cleaner get inside the switch assembly so you can clean it. The only other alternative you have is you can actually carefully pry this metal piece right here up on each side, and you can actually remove this whole plate and expose the actual contacts and clean them that way, which is it's nice when you can do that on a switch like this. Some switches are made so that you can't take them apart without destroying them. But if you take this plate off, you're going to be real careful because there are little springs and pieces in there that can come flying out, and you might have a tough time putting it all back together. So, just a warning. Alright, now the switch is working correctly. What a difference cleaning that up made. You can see now that that position where I was getting kind of a funky reading, now I'm getting 0 ohms, good continuity.